Hello folks. The world is full of scary and sad news, and every day there are more and more of them. You can't help but think that there is nothing good or bright left on our planet, but that's not quite true. We've collected a few stories to convince you that there is still good left in the world. Do you want to restore your faith in humanity and charge yourself with positive emotions? This video is just what you might need. Let's get it on. Teddy and Mrs. Thompson. 5th grade boy Teddy Stallard was very different from the rest of the children. He didn't speak to his classmates, he wore dirty clothes all the time, and was always dirty and sloppy. He was also cocky with his teacher, Mrs. Thompson. She used to tell the children that she loved them all, but she enjoyed making marks in the boy's notebook with a red pen, pointing out his mistakes and giving him unsatisfactory grades. At Mrs. Thompson's school, each child's profile had to be reviewed, and she put Teddy's file aside for later. However, after studying his file, the teacher was very surprised. Turns out that the boy was funny, sociable and diligent, but because of his mother's death, he became withdrawn and eventually turned out to be unwanted. Mrs. Thompson realized what had happened to Teddy and she felt truly ashamed. But the teacher felt even worse when all the students except Teddy brought her Christmas gifts wrapped in bright paper and tied with beautiful ribbons. Teddy's gift was clumsily wrapped in rough wrapping paper from a grocery store. However, Mrs. Thompson specifically opened Teddy's gift along with the other gifts. Inside, she found a bracelet set with fake diamonds, half of which had fallen out, and a bottle of perfume only filled up a quarter. But the teacher cheered with admiration and complimented the bracelet, put it on and scented her wrists. That day, Teddy Stallard stayed after class to say,
"You smell just like my mother."
When the kids left, she cried for an hour, and from that day on, she started paying special attention to Teddy. When she was working with the boy, his soul seemed to come to life. By the end of the year, Teddy had become one of the best students in the class. A year later, Mrs. Thompson found a note from Teddy under the door, saying that she was the best teacher of his life. 6 years later, she received another letter from Teddy. He wrote that he'd finished high school 3rd in his class. 4 years later, she received a new letter from Teddy, saying that although he sometimes had problems, he continued his studies and would soon graduate with honors. He assured Mrs. Thompson that she was still the best teacher in his life. 4 years later, another letter came in. This time he explained that he'd received a bachelor's degree and decided to continue his studies. The letter said that she was still the best teacher in his life, but now the sender's name was a little longer. The letter was signed by Theodore F. Stallard, MD. The same spring, another letter came in. Teddy wrote that he'd met a lovely girl and was getting married. He also revealed that his father had died a few years ago and asked if Mrs. Thompson would agree to take the place that the groom's mother usually occupies at the wedding. Of course, she agreed, and also put on that fake diamond bracelet and even found the perfume. At the wedding, Mrs. Thompson and Teddy hugged each other with tears in their eyes, and she thanked her former disciple. "Thank you, Teddy," said the teacher. "I didn't know how to teach until I met you." Billy Ray Harris. The story of a homeless man named Billy Ray Harris from Missouri, which appeared in many media outlets, has touched millions of people around the world. And it's no wonder, because it really makes you believe in miracles and kindness. And it begins as all other stories. Billy Ray Harris, a homeless man, used to sit in his spot with a mug for donations.
"You spare a change today, sir?"
Thank you. God bless you.
"You spare a change today, sir?" "God bless."
People didn't throw him too many coins that day, but it still took some time before Billy noticed something out of the ordinary. A ring. As soon as he picked it up, the man realized it was real, and it looked like it was pretty damn expensive. The stones looked like diamonds, but instead of rejoicing at his unexpected luck, Billy immediately decided that the ring had to be returned to its owner, because it was clearly in his mug by mistake. And he was right. Sarah Darling found her favorite ring missing only when she returned home. Only the next day, she suddenly realized how exactly the ring might have disappeared. The day before, the woman took off her jewelry and put it in her pocket where she keeps her change. Of course, Sarah had almost no hope of getting the ring back. When she saw Bill, she asked, "Do you remember me?" He said something like, "I'm not sure, there are so many people around." And then the woman said, "I gave you something valuable yesterday, didn't I?" "A ring?" Billy asked. "Well, yes, I have it." That's how the jewelry came back to the owner, who was so happy that she gave all the contents of her wallet to the homeless man. However, Billy himself admitted that he wasn't going to sell the ring anyway because he simply couldn't afford to take someone else's property. But the honesty of the homeless man wasn't overlooked. Billy was visited by reporters. Other people, having found out about him, started to bring him food and clothes, and finally his relatives got in touch with him. Meanwhile, Sarah's husband, web designer Bill Krejci, decided to help Billy and organized a fundraiser online. Initially, he planned to raise only $1,000, but in just a few days, people from the US, but also from Ireland, Sweden, Germany, Portugal, Australia, and many other countries donated to the cause. At the end, they raised more than $150,000.
Thank God that it's over. I mean, I feel human now.
DeMarco Bailey. Many stories become widely known thanks to a single image published on social media. That's what happened to DeMarco Bailey. One day, a random passerby noticed him and took a picture of the guy dragging 2 tires behind him. Of course, you don't see that every day. The passerby talked to the guy and found out the unexpected details of the story. Turns out that DeMarco wanted to get into the school football team, but his family couldn't afford a gym membership. Another person in this kid's shoes would be upset and give up, but not DeMarco. Instead, he came up with this unusual way of improving his physical fitness. Like any good story, it has a happy ending too. After learning about the boy's dream, people from all over the world began to spread the story, and everyone found time to write words of support. In addition, DeMarco was advised to open a fundraiser through GoFundMe, and after a while, the novice athlete was able to afford real equipment. By the way, the boy himself is modest and he's not very excited about being famous. All DeMarco wants is to train, and his determination can only be envied. Brooklyn and Delvar. Friendship between adults and children can be incredibly touching. 3-year-old Brooklyn Andrak made friends with Delvar Dobson, the driver of a garbage truck. Every Thursday, she waited eagerly for him to pass by her house to wave to him, and he waved back at the kid and honked. The unusual ritual continued for a year until a very special Thursday, Brooklyn's birthday. That morning, as usual, she was waiting for the garbage man, but the girl not just waved at him, but finally met her older friend and handed him a festive cupcake. Isn't it cute? But the story goes on. Delvar did not stay aside and also congratulated his little friend, however with a slight delay next Thursday. But that's okay because in the end, a person turns 4 years old once in their life. The driver of the garbage truck returned with some cool gifts, which Brooklyn always dreamed of, and handed them to the little girl. In response, Brooklyn made a thank you poster for Delvar, which he put up in his truck. Miles Scott. Miles Scott, a 5-year-old boy from California, suffered from leukemia and was in remission. Like any child, Miles dreamed of being like the superhero he liked the most, Batman.
I'm Batman.
And the adults from Make-A-Wish Foundation helped make this dream come true. Make-A-Wish is an international charity that helps terminally ill children to fulfill their cherished desires. But it wasn't just some costume from the gift shop. The workers of the foundation organized a grand celebration with a performance. One morning, Miles' parents brought him to a huge store in San Francisco, where he bought the suit of his favorite superhero and changed. And then, the miracles began. The boy was summoned to the service by the chief of the city police himself.
Gotham City needs you, Batman. This is Police Chief Greg Sir, only hoping you can hear my voice.
Turns out that the city was in danger and only Miles could save it. So the boy became Bat-Kid and went on a mission. Accompanied by an adult Batman and police officers, Miles drove in a real Batmobile from one crime scene to another. He helped the damsel in distress, defused a bomb, stopped the Riddler from robbing a bank, and then rescued the San Francisco baseball team's mascot from the paws of the Penguin. Thousands of citizens greeted the little hero with posters. And the local newspaper even printed a special issue with the title, Bat-Kid Saves City. Not only that, but the President of the United States himself believed in him. Way to go, Miles. Way to save Gotham, said Barack Obama in a video message for the boy. And after all the exploits and exciting adventures, the mayor of San Francisco, Ed Lee, in front of the crowd handed Miles a key to the city and appointed him junior mayor. This touching story happened in 2013, but it didn't end there. In November 2018, Miles turned 10 and he defeated the terrible disease. 5 years after the boy put on his Bat-Kid cape, he's still in a state of remission and is therefore considered completely cancer-free. The 10-year-old boy lives on a farm with his parents and 2 younger brothers. He goes to school, plays baseball, and has a passion for science and robots. Of course, doctors played a huge role in his recovery, but we're sure that Miles is a true superhero who realized that he can defeat any villain, even leukemia.
Psst,
Dude, are you looking for new technologies and great gadgets? Are your thoughts focused on the future? Do you love huge vehicles and can't imagine your life without robots around you? Then visit TechZone and you'll find all this and more. The link is in the description. You interested? Great.